Hello friends, this is Scott. We're down at the hobby farm, and I came down here expecting to shovel, and I was surprised pleasantly that a lot of the snow's gone, and we have some bare soil. So I decided to do this video just to kind of do a little walk and talk about my plans for the hobby farm this year, and what I hope to do. Now this area right here, my wife's been bugging me for lavender. She wants to have a big lavender bed, and so I know it's going to draw a lot of bees, but I might put it there. We'll see how that goes. Here's where I did all the grass seed. I brought in the topsoil and threw grass seed down, and we'll see if that sprouts this spring. So I'm hoping that area gets looking a lot better. I still have to put the edging along the side of the house, and so I'm going to just put in some probably metal edging, I think. I was going to bring in landscape timbers. I'm just thinking metal edging might be the best way to go. And then all the way down this side here. And that is Mr. Lincoln. He got a haircut, so if you don't recognize him, he looks pretty sharp with his new do. Well, the orchard's doing well. I think everything's lived through the winter. And again, we still have quite a bit of snow, and it's still pretty frozen down here, but the temperatures are very nice on this trip down. As we head back to the backyard, I'm just going to kind of give you, again, we're just walking through the yard, and I'm going to tell you what my plans are, and we'll see how much at the end of the season I get accomplished. But yeah, going to put a lot more flowers here. It's kind of a shady area on the north side, so I got to figure out what to put there, maybe some hostas. Now, I need to put some stairs off the deck so the dog can get down a lot easier. Now, I tried to get out in the gate, but it was frozen in there, so I couldn't get in. So here's a look at all the bark that I placed along the fence lines to try to smother the incoming weeds from the city property and my own property. So my plan this year is just to go down to the dump and get a bunch of just regular shredded pallets and everything else and just build this up. All the raspberries are planted in. As long as they live through the winter, I'm just going to mulch, water them good, mulch them in heavily, and then that yellowish, wooded material will all turn gray anyway. So I've got to work on the back driveway. I need to screen more rock out and bring in some road base probably just to make that so it's not so muddy. Now this tree here did not survive last season. It was dead. So I assume it's dead. So that tree is going to come out. And I got my maple tree that was doing so well in that ring there, closest one, and I'm going to do a close-up here. And that tree looked like it died. So I don't know if it's a water issue or a gopher issue or whatever. I decided not to pull it out yet, but if it is dead, buy another tree and we'll put it over here somewhere in this corner, a little bit out from the corner. I don't want it right on the fence line. Now here I'm going to come from the front yard. The sun's been kind of bad, so I've been bouncing around a little bit. But this is the front yard. It's just weeds. There's nothing here other than the berry bushes that I planted by the chain link fence. So right here I'm going to bring in a bunch of bark, I think, maybe some more of the landfill bark, and just try to smother the weeds out. And I'm going to bring my trailers in here. I got a pop-up trailer in my garage in Salt Lake, as well as the trailer in the back that I'll show you here in a minute. And I'm going to store them up here, I think, rather than on my back driveway because it's just in the way. Now, I need to put some more edging, again, metal edging probably along the berry bushes, and they're all seem to be doing very well there. Now, this is where I'm really going to expand the garden. You see, I've got more bark here, so I'm going to do beds all the way along the fence lines. But I'm going to start out with the cardboard that I've been bringing down and putting it in the garage, and I'm just going to make it probably a 4-foot wide bed, with some breaks in it, so I can walk through all the way down the length of this side yard. It's a south side facing south yard. Now there's where the old greenhouse was, and I need to put some new siding on the house. I'll probably just put white. I'm not going to be able to match that crappy vinyl tan siding, so I think we'll just make it square, a rectangle, and just frame it and put white on there. Now, going into the backyard, you see I was working on this bed right in front there, and that goes down the hill. I need to level that area out a little bit. I need to straighten up and clean up the roses. Those are some pretty wild roses. And here's the garden that I quadrupled the size last year or more. And so let's take a look over here at the garlic that I planted. I planted it all on this row over here closest to the house, which will be full sun. Along here, I want to put some hardscape of some kind so I don't have to do any trimming up against the house. And I need to put a fence in, and then we're going to do some terraced walls. But there is the garlic, and let's take a closer look and see how it's doing. Yeah, it looks like it's doing really well. So I think we're going to have a great garlic harvest. So yeah, I'm pleased with that. That's the only thing I planted in the fall to overwinter. Now, over here is where my first bed was last year, where I planted the onions and the garlic. And this tree is great, whether it doesn't have any leaves, but then it shades this area. So I think I'm going to put sweet peas in here. I think that'll be what I put there, because that'll get a little bit of shade when it gets a little bit warmer. So yeah, plenty of sun to start growing, and then it'll get some shade. Now there's all the dirt that I'm screening, and I'm using that as my raw materials for the road base as well as for all the garden beds. That's the first layer I put down on the cardboard. So I'm going to dig a sunken patio right there. And you see that's where my water issue is right there. There's a drain right at the bottom. If you can see it, I'm going to put a big drain in right before you see those two concrete slabs that stick up. I'm going to put another drain in there. And we're walking through the pet cemetery. That's where all those rocks are from the previous owner. So we've got lots of old loved ones that are overseeing the garden. This area I want to put a wood shop, and that's the project that's going to be delayed probably because of college. My son's college is putting a dent in the old wallet, and so we'll see what I can do here if I ever get to that this year. But we'll see. I need about $2,500 probably to put a nice. It doesn't have to be huge, but I want to just put a shed in. And make it into a wood shop and decide how I want to power it and go through there. Now, the back pasture, I did seed it last year, so we'll see how good that comes up with a year of animals on there, see how that's improved. Now, there's the trailer that I'm going to take, and I'm hauling all my materials with it, and that's what I'm going to store up in the front side yard once I put the bark down. Now, this little wall area here, I changed my mind. I'm going to put the chickens along here, so I may have to move that worm bin and the tires. But I don't want to just make a smaller chicken coop for right now. I'm thinking having fewer chickens, because it's hard to, in the winter especially. The summer, no problem. I can take care of them adequately. But in the winter, the water issues and freezing and all that's the problem. My compost bins, I'm going to utilize those this year. And here's my big mess of firewood that fell over. And it shows how much wood's actually there. It's quite a bit. But it's really only 1.25 quarters, so it's not a ton of wood. So I'm going to put the racks along the fence line, and you see we have a road right on the side of our house that's pretty well traveled. That'll give us some privacy. So I'll put the wood racks along the fence line, I think, for privacy. Here's going to be a terraced wall, and on the lower terrace, or the one terrace I plan in, it'll be herbs, I believe. And I'll put a walkway right on the left there by the concrete. And on this side is the sunken patio, and I'm just going to dig all that out. And again, I'm using all the rocks that I screen out in the road as road base, and then all the dirt's going to my beds. So we got plenty of raw materials, so we'll see how far that goes. And now as I walk up the back driveway, you see it's kind of getting muddy, so I need to definitely keep putting more and more rock down, and then I'll get some smaller gravel or something just to make it so it's not a mud fest when it's wet. Now the sun's in my back, so I flipped around, coming in from the other side, like I came in from that gate. I got all these rocks here that I've been screening out as I'm digging. I'm not screening those big rocks, but those will probably be put behind the retaining walls for some added support, so I'll get rid of them there. And then I've got to put more edging along here, and I have nothing planted right next to this tree, but that's the raspberry bed, that big long one on the far side. I do have gopher activity, like always, so I've got to kill a gopher in here before it eats my raspberries. And down here, like I say, I hope the raspberries live. We'll find out, fairly soon. Raspberries take a little time to come out of dormancy, so it may take a little while to figure out whether they're alive or not, or see how good it is. I'll bring more down if I need to. And right here, I'm going to put a pond in. I'm going to dig a small pond, and I'll move my fish from Salt Lake down here. My wife wants me to transition my farm from our, suburban yard down here, so that's the plan. And getting back down here to the driveway, again, I'm going to put the wood right along this fence line, I think. And, I'm not sure how far it'll go, but that'll give us some privacy. So, that should work out pretty good. So I'm excited, but had to get out of town and back to Salt Lake because the big storm's coming in from California. They got like 7 feet in the Sierras. And so, as I'm driving out of town, I think I got out of here just in time. And then I got home, and I was home for about an hour or two. And, the storm blew in and gave us 4 to 6 inches. So this is just a skiff. This is a start. So, winter's still here. So, I was getting all excited about talking about gardening, but I think it's going to be delayed for another week or so. We'll see how that goes. Well, thanks for watching this video, and I hope you can kind of follow me in my journey and all my dreams down here at the hobby farm, making this a very productive kind of a rural garden area. And I'm hoping to grow lots and lots of food and have a really good time with my family down here. Thank you for watching.